I'm back, motherfucker. Woo! What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Days of Darkness, and welcome to my review of The Thing. This one came out in 1982, starring Kurt Russell, Keith David, and Wilford Brimley. Was written by Bill Lancaster and was directed by the legend himself, Mr. John Carpenter. Before I start this, I just wanted to say, as you saw in the intro, I'm back. It was fucking brutal. I was really sick. Did not have COVID. There's no Corona Mania Part 2 going on. Long time followers of the channel will get that. But no Corona Mania Part 2. I was just really sick, and I was in bed most of the time, and if I tried to record something, it would not have gone well. So I'm feeling better now. My voice is still a little... got some water here. I'm sure I'll be utilizing that at certain points. Let me get that off screen. There we go. But yeah, anyways, enough about me. We have to talk about one of, if not the greatest horror film ever made. And if anyone were to say that this is the greatest horror movie ever made, I would not, not that I shit on people's opinions anyway, because I'm not a fucking asshole, but I would not object. There are plenty of people who say that this is their favorite horror movie of all time, and I'll say this. My favorite horror movie of all time is Halloween. And don't worry, we will talk about all the whys and all of that, blah, 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 soon enough. There is only one horror movie, that comes close to competing with Halloween as far as my favorite. And that's The Thing, man. This fucking movie is perfect. It's perfect. There is not a single aspect of this movie that I would change, alter, anything. Not one. The music in this fucking film is incredible. John Carpenter, not only is he a brilliant filmmaker, but he is a brilliant musician. The music that he has in this movie, it's so subtle. And it's so fucking creepy that, God, man, I don't even know how to really describe it beyond that. It's great. And then you have the setting of Antarctica and a research team. I'm not going to get into what the antagonist is in this movie. I'm not going to get into any of that, because that is something that if for some reason you haven't seen this movie, after the spoiler-free section of this, turn this off right now and go watch it and come back. I don't usually say that a lot, but I am stressing it here. Because, oh my God, you need to see this blind, if you can. I watched this one with my girlfriend, and I'm sure I'll tell some stories about that. I had obviously seen the movie several times. She had not. And, it fucking threw her for a loop, man. That's what this movie does. Especially if you have no fucking clue. She was like, what's it about? What's it about? I'm like, I ain't telling you shit. Just like you. I ain't telling you shit either. Go watch it. But anyways, but the setting of Antarctica, it's so isolated, and there's no way out. There's 100% no way. You're not walking out of there without dying. You're trapped. 100% trapped, man. The characters in this, where do I even start? MacReady, Childs, fucking Blair, Dr. Cooper, fucking all of them. Everyone in this movie is fantastic. Kurt Russell, obviously, is incredible. Keith David, Wilford Brimley. Like, fuck, man. It doesn't get better than this, man. It just doesn't. There is not a thing about this movie I would change. Obviously, if you're looking for my recommendation, yes, please, for the love of God, go watch it. And just to wrap up the spoiler-free section without getting into the details of it, the best film for special effects. By far. By far. Now, you have your Alien and your Predator, which those are beautiful films in their own right in the special effects department. And then, you got Star Wars, and you got all these different special effects movies that I am not bad-mouthing whatsoever. They're obviously incredible. I wouldn't have mentioned them if they weren't. And there are several others that I'm not going to mention that are also incredible, but to me, everything in this movie feels real. It's not. But there's not a single frame that I look at it and I go, that's a puppet. Or that's an animatronic. Or that's just makeup. I don't do that in movies in general because I don't like ruining it for myself. Because people are like, I'll watch movies with people sometimes and they're like, oh, that looks so fake. Which it's like, you're a fucking dork, dude. Obviously it's fake. But it's the same sort of thing with wrestling. But that's a totally different subject. I've watched this with several people. I have never once heard someone go, oh, that's so fake. Or that's so fucking lame. Or anything that people who don't like old movies will say. This is an old movie. And I have never, not once, ever heard someone say that. That, in and of itself, is a testament to the special effects in this. I was watching this movie last night. I've seen this movie well over 30 times. And it always fucking gets to me, man. There's always a certain part of this movie that I'm just like, it's timeless, dude. This movie is timeless. And it's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the spoiler-free section because we have a lot to get into here. Stick around, sit tight. This is going to be a long one. Or at least I feel like it will be. But, yes, please, for the love of all that is holy, if you have not seen this movie, go watch it right now. Without further ado, let's spoil the shit out of this motherfucker. Alright, spoiler time. Your ass has been warned. Now, let's just hop right into it. So we start out with easily my favorite title card ever. I just love the way, or one of, there, I don't know, Aliens up there with my favorite title cards. But anyways, easily one of the best. Just how it burns into the screen, just the thing. It looks fucking magnificent, as everything in this movie looks. Cinematography is another strong suit of this one. John Carpenter is known for his excellent cinematography. No different here. But anyway, so you get these Norwegian pilots that are shooting at this dog, and on the surface, you're like, oh, those fucking dickheads. And one story with my girlfriend here, she is immediately like, oh, those motherfuckers. Like, what are they doing? She's an animal lover, so obviously she's like getting all pissed off at them. I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, just wait. But they end up landing at the American research facility where, Bennings and Childs and McCready and all those guys are. Blair and all them. Gary. God, I love these characters. Anyways. Palmer. But anyways, so they land there. And the first one dies when he tries to throw a grenade at the dog, and he drops it. It slips out of his hands, and the dumb fuck starts like looking for it. I'm like, move, run away from the explosion. Ooh, water time. Like, whew. Anyways, I'm like, fucker, run away from the explosion. But he does not, and he gets killed, gets blown to smithereens, and then the other one's shooting like a madman, shoots Bennington in the leg. And Gary ends up shooting him in the face. And from there, they take this dog in, and you know what happens next, man. Fucking... From there, we get one of the best science fiction horror movies. No, let me scratch that. The best science fiction horror movie of all time, without a doubt. Best horror film, you can even say that, but I will put my money down. This is the best sci-fi horror film of all time, easily. And from there, this dog ends up revealing itself to not be a dog, but to be the Thing. And what the Thing does, as anyone who is watching at this point should know, it's this alien it's this parasite basically that infects whoever it touches, essentially. Or if it gets a hold of you, it can assimilate you and become you. It can give a damn near 99% perfect representation of whoever it kills. What a fucking premise, man. What an amazing... I know this is not an original story. I mean, it is in a lot of respects, but I know that premise is not totally unheard of. Who goes there, and then the original Thing movie, and all of that, which that's a fun fact about this one that not a lot of people remember, is that this is technically a remake. And a very, very loose remake, but it's a remake nonetheless, in certain regards. But anyways, it blows the first one out of the water easily. But yeah, so just that premise alone, though, of not knowing who to trust, and in the setting of an Antarctic research facility where you can't go anywhere. If you try to run away, you're dead. You're dead. You're done. The setting is almost just as big of a threat to these people as the monster that is hunting them. It is an absolutely terrifying combination. If this was done in like a fucking neighborhood or something like that, it wouldn't be nearly as effective. The setting, to me, is the other villain of this movie. And it's very, very understated how badly this environment affects these guys. I mean, they're already kind of going loopy just being stuck in this place. Yeah, they have all these recreational activities and stuff that they can do in the meantime, but, it's clear some of them don't get along with each other. And so when they eventually discovered that this thing can perfectly impersonate anybody it kills and assimilates, suddenly the people who don't quite get along now really don't get along, and the underlying plague of this thing is that it completely destroys human trust. Which, how I personally interpret the ending now, which we will get into, is a perfect example of that. But anyways, the premise is absolutely incredible, and I know it's not completely original, but this is the best it has ever been utilized, and will ever be utilized. It's incredible. I mean, it's still impacted today. You have the fucking Among Us. You have the Among Us game, and people still can't get enough of this premise. It's just so good. I can ramble on for hours about it, but I'm probably going to be rambling about this movie in general, so we'll get on to it. Also, the way that the plot is handled, and just who is shown on screen when. The first time you watch this, you have no way of knowing who is infected and when they are infected. Except for, like, maybe, what's his name? Damn. Is the one guy I can never fucking remember his name. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, IMDb. Norris. I'd say Norris is the only one who gets plainly infected or assimilated, whatever you want to say. The whole silhouette of him, of the dog going in and assimilating him, he's the only one that's like cut and dry, which really there are three guys in this that have that kind of curly hair look. Childs is fucking bald. Motherfucker. Windows, Norris, and Palmer are the three guys who have that similar kind of curly hair look. So even then, first time watching this, you don't know which one it is, really. I mean, you really don't. You eventually discover that I've watched this film so many times and I've read so many things and watched so many things, and I pretty much know the order in which these guys get infected and when they do and all of that. But that's the genius of this movie, especially watching it the first time, is you have no fucking idea. You really don't. And even, this is like a fun fact that's stated in every single review of the thing ever, but even while making the movie, the actors were not told, okay, you're the thing in this scene. Which immediately gives off the impression that this thing can perfectly impersonate people. Like, to a T. The only real weakness it has is that it can't, assimilate inorganic material. So really a big find or a big catch is if someone changes clothes, because it rips right through clothes. And if it rips through clothes and the person is wearing different clothes, that's a pretty dead giveaway right there. But anyways, but yeah, man, just when you watch this film for the first time, and I really hope some of you have watched this film for the first time and are watching this review afterwards, there's no way you can tell me who got infected when. You really can't. And I feel like some people, because I have heard people say that watch this for the first time, they're like, oh, it just feels so random. And it just feels like, Carpenter just picked and chose whoever was going to be the thing next. Like it's a slasher or something. I've heard it's rare, but I hear people complain about that. I've never really seen that with this. I mean, especially after watching it so many times, you can do the math and see, okay, so-and-so got infected here, and blah, 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 blah. You can definitely pinpoint the moments. But on your first watch, you're so captivated by everything going on that you're like, wait, when did he get, or what, and you're just as confused as an audience member as the characters are in the moment. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a gripe at all. Anyways, I am going to be droning on over each bullet point that I have here. Oh, man. My throat is trying to give out on me. But yeah, man. And that premise and that idea of you have no idea of when someone is infected. They don't know who's infected. They can't trust each other, but they have to in order to get through this. It leads to just amazing scenes. And I'm not going to do a full plot rundown, but there are 3 instances that I really want to talk about. The first one, not so much because of the premise, but I just think it's incredible. The kennel. The kennel's easily the worst part for me. Not as in like it's a bad aspect of the film. It's tremendous, but I cannot stand seeing dogs die. Show me people getting slaughtered all fucking day. I don't care. But dogs, man, fuck, dude. Like, come on. So that's easily always the hardest. There are plenty of hard to watch moments, but to me, that's like the hardest to watch. It's like, oh, Poochie, no. But yeah, man, that thing dog gets in there and by the way, testament to all the dog actors in this, or actresses. I'm not sure if they were all male or female. who knows? But just props to all of those dogs, man, because holy shit. Especially the Thing dog, man. As soon as he gets in that kennel, he just lays down. And you can just see him staring, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you hear that. Or however you can. That's a horrible impression, especially with the state my throat's in right now. But, that fucking dog, man. It's great. And soon enough, all those dogs are growling at him and fucking barking. And you just see his face just split open. You can see the skull and the tongue's fucking flapping everywhere. Incredible. Fucking great. It's brutal as hell, and I hate it because it's a dog, but fuck, man. And if you're wondering, yes, my darling girlfriend, the queen herself, was shielding her eyes and burying her head in my chest the entire time, because if I'm a dog lover, she's enamored. She fucking loves dogs. So yeah, that was and I think I understated how brutal that scene got, so she was buried for a while. But anyways, absolutely incredible scene. The tentacles start flying out and it's fucking up all the other dogs, and that's when it really gets sad, because you see the one dog who's like biting the fencing around the kennel to just try and escape. Like, it's like fucking like snapping these. It's like, dude, fuck, man. That's sad shit. That's really, really sad shit. But yeah, and then we get the human characters coming in, and they have to see this monstrosity, and this one dog is getting like, the tentacles come out and it's pulling it in, and it's like, oh god, man. But so we get them setting that thing on fire. It looks incredible. Tremendous scene. We get the blood test, which to me, it's so hard to say what is the best scene of this movie. To me, that's probably gonna take it. I think the blood test scene is absolutely incredible. Ends with Palmer being revealed as a thing, and we get an amazing kill from Windows. Not from Windows, on Windows. But yeah, man, and just that whole suspense of him heating up the needle and just every petri dish is like nothing. And he thinks Gary is the thing, because at one point they're trying to do this blood test, and someone went in and fucked up all the blood packets. So now they're fucked. So they have to do it manually, and they scalpel each one of their thumbs. And so he thinks it's Gary, because Gary's the only one with access to those blood packets. It ends up not being Gary, and he just kind of is like, we're doing you next. And then Palmer's petri dish just... And it's absolutely incredible. I'm not doing the scene justice, but it is a jump scare done right. 100%. It is a fantastic scene. It is scary as shit. The suspense is brutal, and it has an amazing payoff. Me saying it's the scene of the film, or it's the best scene of the film, is like me saying, all right, like, you know, here's this gold, here's this diamond amongst all this gold. It's all incredible, but, you know. And then the very end, which is kind of, I'd say it's the most controversial part of the film. Not as in like offensive or anything stupid like that, but it's the question, man. It's that constant questioning. Is Childs a thing at the end of the movie? By this point, MacReady, Gary, and what's the other guy's name? Knowles all go down to pursue Blair, who is now basically confirmed to be a thing. And then he, kills Knowles and Gary. And then they three basically combine to make this fucking incredible looking creature. And then MacReady ends up blowing that motherfucker up and subsequently blows up the entire camp because that's their goal. They're like, hey, we ain't fucking getting out of here alive. But that fucking thing isn't either. So they blow up the entire camp, and then MacReady's just dead at this point. Not literally, but he is like just exhausted. And then Childs just comes walking up to him. Excuse me. And MacReady's just like, where the fuck? Damn. He's like, where the fuck were you? He's like, where were you, Childs? And then Childs, was like telling him where he was, and then he just sits down and he goes basically, he's like, you don't trust me, do you? And he goes, MacReady, in like one of the best lines is like, I think if we have a surprise for one another, neither of us is really in any shape to do anything about it. Then he gives him the drink. Childs obliges. And there's so much evidence as to, is Childs a thing or is he not? My voice is desperately trying to get out of me right now. But anyways, is he a thing or is he not? On this rewatch, I was always under the impression that he was. But miraculously, I noticed, because I watched it on my big ass TV in my room, because I was in bed, obviously. I noticed he has a fucking earring. And the thing can't produce inorganic material. I always went off of he's wearing a different coat. He's not shown to be like breathing, because MacReady's breath is like, he's like, you know how that fucking shit works in the cold. And Childs has none of that going on. But he has the earring in. So where I'm at now, I don't even question it anymore. I don't really think about, is he a thing or is he not? I think both of those things, and there are some people who like say, oh, well, MacReady put gasoline in there and gave it to him because he was throwing Molotov cocktails earlier. And, and then he laughs after he takes a drink. He's like, motherfucker, you're a thing, People provide so much information for either way, and I can't really say one or the other. I really don't know. And I think that was intended. I think that whole ending scene between those two in that burning camp is to be like, it really doesn't matter if he is or not. Because I think John Carpenter gave just enough evidence of him being a thing and him not being a thing. And I think that was done because the whole point of the scene is to convey how damaging the trust is now between these two. Because these two have been at each other's throats the entire film. It is very... it is very clear that they do not like each other at all. Like, at fucking all. And so when all this goes down, they don't know. And I think they're both comfortable in that moment just dying. Because at this point, at least they both know now that the thing ain't getting out of there. It ain't. It's not getting out of there. It's going to freeze and it's going to die. Or not die, because it was frozen for thousands of years and still lived. But that whole scene, to me, it doesn't really matter if he is or isn't. If I have to choose, I would probably say that he is, and that the thing just put the earring in. But how would the thing even know what the fuck an ear piercing is? I don't know. But then again, how would the thing know what clothes are? And how would the thing know to put clothes on? So I kind of lean towards him being a thing, just because there's more evidence to show that he is by the end of it. But I don't really let my theories bog down that ending, because to me the ending, that's not the point. The point is, you don't fucking know. No one can ever know. And that's where the film ends. And ambiguity. What a perfect way to end it. I don't think with a film like this you can do a concrete, solid ending. I feel like you just have to just roll with it, man. And the Thing is going to die in that camp, and it's just a bittersweet ending. A very, very, very bittersweet ending. And that'll do it, guys, for the review portion of the film. Or the review portion. The review portion of the video. At this rate, this is going to be the length of a fucking film. But anyways, but that'll do it for the review portion. Incredible movie. Perfect, man. And I can't really say anything else about it. But we still have to get into the blood, the guts, the gory bits. We got to get into my kill of the film. Stick around. There are so many reasons why you could look at The Thing and say it's the greatest of all time. Acting, like I've said, incredible. I've stated ad nauseum how fucking great this film is, and there are plenty of contributing factors to back that claim up. Of me saying this is easily the greatest sci-fi horror film of all time. And it can be argued for sure that it's the greatest horror film of all time. And if someone says that, I'm not going to argue with them. And one of the big reasons for that is the gore in this movie. As I've stated before, it is the best practical effects film ever. As I've stated before, there is not a single moment. I've watched this with so many people. I've lost count. Not one of them have ever said, oh, that's cheesy, or oh, that's bullshit, or anything. That is a testament to how fucking effective and how brutal the kills are in this movie. It's great. It's easily one of my, I mean, we all know this by now. I'm a gore hound. I love it. And it's just great. Couple honorable mentions before I get into my kill of the film. This was a hard one, man, because there's enough to back up each one of these. And if someone were to say, like, oh, no, that's the kill of the film, I'm like, hey, man, you do you. But to me, the honorable mentions are, first of all, Windows. When Palmer is revealed to be a thing, he starts shaking and shit. And then his head just splits open like a fucking piranha plant from Mario. And just bites down on Windows' head and picks him up and just starts flailing his body around. And is like eating his head, and it's crazy brutal. The brutality of that scene is... And he's screaming and shit. It's scary, man. It is haunting shit, 100%. And, the blood and the guts and all that. But then he just tosses them aside, and they have to burn Windows, because he's like, they can't risk that shit. And then they burn him, and then he's making a lot of weird alien-esque noises. So it's like, probably a good move. I really don't know if he was fully assimilated by that point, but you can't take the risk, man. So whenever they kill the Palmer thing, they have to kill Windows. They have to. There's no choice. Bennings, whenever he's like the first to get assimilated by the thing, and he's running out, or Bennings' thing is running out, and they caught him before he had the chance to fully assimilate into Bennings. So he's basically all done, but like his hands are still like fucked up looking. And then he lets out that scream that I'm not even gonna attempt to imitate right now. But yeah, man, he gets fucking set on fire, and you hear him. That scary fucking eerie screech of the thing. It's absolutely incredible. Great kill. Very sad too, because Gary's like, I've known Bennings my entire life, and he's like, that wasn't Bennings, man. Bennings is gone, brother. Way before we just set that thing on fire. But anyways, there's plenty of other really, really good moments in here. I love Gary getting, like, basically, oh, what the hell? What's his name? Shit. I do get the names mixed up every once in a while. Blair. Blair thing grabs Gary's face and, like, basically absorbs his hand into Gary's face, and it's like, that's just, that one's not a super gory kill, but it's like extremely unsettling because it's like his face is stretching open and shit. It's like, oh my god. And lots of really cool moments in here. I feel bad for Knowles, or the character playing Knowles, or the actor playing Knowles, because he really didn't get a good kill. It's really off screen, but there are a couple ones like that where it's just kind of like, but that's not a flaw, mind you, at all, because we get plenty of amazing gore, which will lead into my kill of the film easily. Dr. Cooper, his death in this film is the stuff of horror legend. When you watch like horror highlights on YouTube and just like top 10 best kills or whatever, this one's always there. Basically, the setup to it is the guy, I can never remember his fucking name, even after I just looked at it. Norris is known to have a weak heart, and as I stated before, Norris is the first one to be assimilated. It's pretty clear. So if you've watched this a million times, you know that's not Norris. So he has a heart attack, and they get him on the table, and he starts, clear, and then he goes in for a second time, and he goes in, and fucking Norris's chest just opens up into this huge gaping mouth, and Dr. Cooper's hands are in there, so it just clamps down and bites this dude's arms clear off. Oh god, and then he just falls down and he dies because he bleeds out. Just the sheer shock mixed with like there's a very cartoony like bloop, like noise whenever he fucking clamps down, or like whenever the blood's squirting out of his stumps. Now just it's, oh god, but it's awesome, man. It's just like every other aspect of this movie is fucking great. And yeah, I'm really, really glad I got to talk about this one, guys. I was looking forward to it. I wanted to wait for the right time. This was requested by my lovely girlfriend, Lindsay, so thank you, darling. And next time on Days of Darkness, we are going to talk about another request that was requested by my good homie, Boyd, and he requested Paranormal Activity. So we will be getting into that next time on Days of Darkness. I'm looking forward to that very much. First found footage film on the channel, first real paranormal activity, first real ghost movie, and I'm really looking forward to it, guys. But without further ado, thank you for sticking around, and it feels good to be back. I'm sure next time my voice will be far better, so but yeah, guys, thank you as always. Take care of each other and keep watching horror. All right, peace.